It's Friday. 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 What's
Friday.
up, Demi? You're not impressed?
Friday. I'm still tired, dude, and all I did was relax today. I'm still tired.
Oh, hold on a minute. Come on, let me get my hat on.
Okay, Samuel.
Let me get my stuff together. I gotta look right. This is gonna be a big show, Timmy. This is gonna be a big show.
Why you got your boy coming back?
I don't know. Ooh, it's a mess. I had to steal my hat from the dogs earlier, so I don't think it looks good. Wait a minute. We got Mr. Dennis. We got Dennis calling in. He's from Michigan somewhere, and he's in the dark. Hey, Dennis. How you doing, man?
Good. I'm in Florida.
You're in Florida,
Yeah, that's where I live.
and they don't have any lights in Florida. Where are you?
Hang on, I'm getting to the dining room.
Okay, no worries, no worries. So, Timmy, I think it's going to be a good show. Oh, wait a minute. I'm gonna bring my stuff down.
I just hope your boy there don't come back.
Which one? The Brit guy. I mean, sorry, the Scottish guy.
No, the Scottish guy was fine. It was the other guy there, the mumbler.
The mum. Oh yeah. I don't know. He might come back. He might come. I'm not against it, but I don't know if I'd let him in, Tim. I don't think we should.
Nah, not after the words he used.
Right. But
Dennis, where you at in Florida?
You know where Brandon is? Near
Where what?
Tampa? Brandon?
Yeah. I live over in St. Pete.
Okay. I live in Riverview.
Okay, I know where. You know where Riverview is famous for, Paul?
What's Riverview famous for?
That's where all the circus performers go to retire when they get done in the circus.
Yeah, that's actually Gibsonton.
Yeah, Gibsonton, Riverview. Yep.
Yeah.
Nice. So are you saying there's a lot of bearded ladies in your town, Mr. Squires?
We call them Gibsonians and Riverview.
Gibsonians and Riverviewians.
Yeah.
So you've got to have a thriving theater district there, I can only imagine.
They just
I'm sorry, you broke up?
They just winter here.
Okay, so they're off. They're not trying to work.
Yeah, and they're back on the road when they come back.
Okay.
You know what the big college is down in Sarasota? Paul?
I do.
I know.
Yeah, it's Ringling College.
Oh, okay.
But it's not like you would think something named Ringling would be about. It's actually a very prestigious arts school to attend for like visual and performing arts.
Right. Yeah. I can imagine. I mean, they're skilled to all that circus stuff.
Well, no, it's not about that either. My daughter Pamela, who went through 4 years in a visual and performing arts program for high school, was actually at some point planning to go back and get her master's in art. And I'm talking drawing, creating art from Ringling down in Sarasota.
Nice. And how did chemical therapy or whatever she's doing? What is she doing? Bioengineering, data mining.
No, she's doing web application development right now.
So if I need a web application developed, I can call your daughter. Is that what you're saying?
She might tell you what you can do with that and the dog you rode in on, but
no, I need her to develop me a website. I need help.
Oh, she does. She likes to do HTML development.
Yeah.
So you can send her a private message and she might be willing to help you out with that. And she's big on visual art stuff, so she's very creative.
I'm scared. Is she like into that manga stuff? Manga?
Huh? She does her own creations.
Her own creations.
She does her own stuff.
Okay. And how would you stylize it? What would you compare it to? Can you?
Well, she does just about anything, but she has helped a couple of people I know fix their websites and get them functional. Good websites and get them functional.
Nice, nice. So, Dennis, what are you doing down there? Are they putting you back to work, or did they the lockdown again?
I went for 2 days. I work the dining room, so they said we won't be back until April 1st. So I'm playing pickleball every day.
Wow. April 1st.
I don't know what's magic about that date.
Well, yeah, where'd they get, I was about to say, where'd they get that date from?
What is April 1st?
April Fool's Day.
I thought he said April 4th. I wasn't even gonna, I was gonna get there eventually, Timmy, but you beat me.
But that's okay, because I work up at USF, and they told me I'm not coming back. That I'm working from home for the foreseeable future.
Really?
Yep.
So did they say they're going to pay for the addition that you're going to add on?
No, they told me if I need any equipment in order to work from home, they'll buy whatever equipment I need for me to work from home. But I'm working from home. Somebody else already owns my desk.
Dude, tell them you need a bidet.
my boss ain't that gullible.
But you got to call it something else. Call it a computer operator soothing device or something. I don't know. Call it a floppy disk. There you go. Tell them you need a floppy disk at the house and buy a bidet. So what are we gonna get, Timmy? We need lights for your Zoom meeting. You need a nice USB camera.
Already taken care of. See, we don't use Zoom. We use Microsoft Teams.
Okay.
And when I do Teams meetings, they see more of me than they want to see.
So they're asking for less video, better audio. Is that what you're saying?
You know how you like to play around with the backgrounds and here in StreamYard?
Yeah.
So I got a bunch of backgrounds in Microsoft Teams. It's very easy to import backgrounds into it. So I'll click to a big 16-ounce Bud Light bottle as my background. I got a couple of backgrounds from New Zealand. One of them is one of the farms that we stopped to visit. The guy's cows kept coming over to say hi to me. So I took several pictures of the cows, and they go up in my background from time to time. And
so nobody knows what the meeting's about because you're having fun changing your backgrounds.
Oh, people know what the meetings are about.
Candace, we can read. Take the sign down. Happy New Year!
Is that my girl, Candace? Is that Candace?
Hello.
Hey, girl, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's good to finally be able to talk to you instead of just keep typing.
Right?
And trying to compete with what's his name there.
You got one of your biggest fans here, Candace.
I appreciate them even watching, so thank you. Thank you.
I'm not that other guy there that's always oh God, and I can't remember his name, was always typing things and angering everybody.
we know Kyle. We like him. We adjust.
It's a show about opinions. What are you gonna do?
So Candace, what do you got planned for the new year? I know you got big plans.
Did you say me?
Yes.
Well, the work never stops. It never stops, and so especially when you're working for the people. So my plan is to continue doing that.
Well, there's enough for you to do.
Exactly.
I mean, between the lawsuits alone, we need somebody capable and respected to break down those lawsuits. Because I don't know I haven't signed up for one yet, and I don't know if I'm going to.
Right. And I've had a lot of people who've expressed that exact same opinion of they are not sure if it is in their best interest to sign lawsuits. And then I've had some people that feel like that are saying that if they do not, then it will absolve the state and everyone else of their responsibility, because they'll say they gave us an offer and we rejected it. There are also some other people that there are a lot of different ways that can go. I will say, and I know we hear the words, the wheels of justice are slow, blah, blah, blah. We hear all that all the time. But I will say it's just far too long to leave a city in crisis. Regardless of whose watch it happened on and all that other stuff, it's just far too long, you know?
Agreed.
And so you would think that there would be some urgency since we can all agree that there's no safe level of lead for people to inject, you know?
I agree.
I agree with her fully, Paul. That should be the first and foremost thing that has to happen first is fix the damn water system. Then worry about the rest of it. First, fix the damn water system.
Right.
Well,
because
I thought the water system was fixed.
So this is the thing that you're running into with that, Paul, right?
Right.
One of the things for sure is that right now we do not know the number of lead lines that are left to be replaced. I don't think we have that official number, or if there are any more that were left to be replaced. You know, we came up on a deadline. And so if people didn't give permission by a certain time, then their lead lines are not going to be fixed at no cost to them anyway. So which I think was one, that's a flaw there in the original lawsuit of there shouldn't be a deadline of if you don't get it done, if you don't turn in the paper by this certain time, then it's on you because the pipe being messed up was never on the person to begin with. So even putting a deadline on that never sat well with me, but what are you gonna do?
Right.
But and so I think we don't have the exact number of if all of the lead lines that they had permission to replace were replaced. You know, we came into a pandemic. First we hit a winter, and then we came into a pandemic, and so things kind of got lost in the shuffle. And so it is an interesting thing to be in the position where you have a public health crisis on top of another public health crisis. Flint is definitely, if nothing else, we sure know how to do some things that have never been done, right? But and I think that on top of another thing you have to consider, even when you say that they're fixed, is what was fixed was lead lines leading, into the house. So then you have to deal with the fact that you had people's in-home plumbing and in-home fixtures that have been severely damaged. And if you look at the poverty rate in Flint, obviously people do not have the money to fix the in-home plumbing. And so that shouldn't be on them to fix to begin with. So when you begin to use the word fix, you have to be careful because one of the things you need to consider is, well, yeah, okay, the water coming into the home, yeah, that's safe, right? But then we're thinking about once it actually comes out of the faucet and you have a damaged fixture, or you have damaged piping in your home, then you're still drinking lead tainted water. So, I mean, to when people use the term fixed and all of that, it's like, be careful there, because fixed is fixed, meaning I can drink water from my tap because the pipe on the outside of my home leading into my home, that's brand new, that's not leaching any lead, and all of my in-home fixtures and plumbing, that's fixed as well, so that I'm not still ingesting lead when I'm going on with my daily routine of trying to drink water, cook food, wash clothing, get some ice, things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So when we say fixed, make sure that fixed means fixed, as in it's all completely done, it's all completely fixed, we've been made completely whole where that is concerned. So I won't be comfortable using the word fixed until people's in-home plumbing and fixtures are fixed at no cost to them.
Okay. All right. And are any of the lawsuits addressing that?
So I have to look a bit more into that, but basically the long short of it, from what I understand, no. I think if any, so here's the thing with the lawsuits, I think that there also has to be proof of damage, which is crazy, but there has to be proof of damage, right? And so I think whatever money you get from there, maybe then it's on you to fix your in-home fixtures with that money that you get. But I want to look at that more closely before I give you a solid answer. But I'm thinking that that's the case of if you are rewarded any money for damages that you can prove you were damaged.
I can see a whole bunch of Flint folks showing up at the courthouse with a cut off piece of pipe from their house to show there's lead in it, right?
But you have to think about, what about the people for instance, who were having neurological disorders, were visiting doctors left and right and didn't know what was wrong. They didn't know in 2014 and 2015 that they needed to have their blood tested for lead. And even then, by the time you have a neurological concern, that means the lead has already gotten into your bones and into your brain, you know? So what about those people who don't have the pipes? You know, what about the people who just had the medical issues, but because no one knew that we needed to be getting our blood tested, you don't have that medical proof either. What about them?
Right. Hey, Paul. Yes, Paul. How about this? If they can test out the water outside of your house, which they can, and that comes in negative for lead, then they can step inside your house and test the water. And if they come up with lead, then you know the problem's inside the house. Fix it.
But then, I mean, that's what the lawsuit's going to have to be. The lawsuit's going to have to be paying people to do that exactly. When really that should have been a part of the whole process to begin with. When they came out to do the pipes, that they should have assessed the damage that had been done to the people's pipes and fixed it then. Right? But I guess there was no money to do that.
Well, it becomes the question of, okay, you know, at some point, public ends and private begins.
Right.
And, you know, does the public pay for the fix to the private side of it?
This is the thing. If the public was the thing that ruined the private, it should be on the public to fix the private.
Right. If they can say, okay, here's the proof that these pipes were fine before the city ended up putting all this lead into the water, and because the city was responsible for all this lead in the water, now the pipes inside my house are ruined.
So this is so a couple of things with that. One, the state was responsible, not the city, the state. And then the second thing with that, though, that's one of those things that it would be hard to prove. And if you have a state that does not want to take responsibility and have to pay for that private portion, I can see them keeping you tied up in court.
Yeah, they'll always find a lawyer that'll argue.
I mean, aren't they going to spend as much in court as they would fixing the problem?
No.
They're willing to pay $2-3 million to attorneys and.
Right. When you look at the lawyer's fees versus having to replumb everyone's house, you're talking about a major difference. The lawyer's fees are cheaper.
Come on, PEX is inexpensive, and our plumbers need the work. That's what I'm saying. I'd rather give it to a plumber than a lawyer.
Right. So that's why I'm saying now I think Candace is onto something with her idea of, okay, if there is going to be this, people are going to get a settlement out of this. All right. The settlement is going to have to say, all right, so now you have this chunk of money to go ahead and fix the plumbing within your house. All right. Now the city or the public, the state, the city, they're not paying to fix the plumbing in your house, but you're getting a settlement with which now you have the money to go ahead and fix the plumbing in your house.
And then
I don't know. I think the settlement is for pain and suffering and other things that you experience, not for repairing damage.
You are correct there, but what I'm saying is, here's what you're looking at. All right. If you're looking for the city and the state are going to say fixed means that at the service to your house, there's no lead in the water. What's getting into your drinking glass inside your house is not their concern. So now they're going to give you a settlement to compensate you for the damages they've done to you and your internal plumbing. But whose responsibility is it going to be to fix the internal plumbing if they're paying you a settlement for the damages they did?
Right. Because they can argue that that's part of the damages and fix that with that.
All right, so can we talk about something that's more fun? What's the last thing you watched on Netflix, Candace?
Bridgerton.
What?
Yes. Bridgerton.
What is Bridgerton?
Bridgerton. So it's a new Shonda Rhimes show that's on Netflix. It's pretty good too. I don't want to give too much of it away, but it's a like a period piece, so it's set back in a different time, and it's good.
I don't think I'm going to try that, Candace. You have not. You have not.
Well,
juiced me up.
It doesn't sound sexy, and Paul likes sexy.
Wow, Paul. If that's the case, if you haven't seen like Ava or Peppermint or something like that, and you like action, those two are great movies.
I'm a funny guy. I want to laugh. I want to laugh a lot.
Paul, you know I like action. I don't think I've watched too many comedies. Like it, I just, they make jokes in the action movies. I don't know.
You chuckled before, right?
Right.
All right, Lewis, on you, baby. What's the last thing you watched on Netflix?
Ma Rainey's. I can't remember Paula Davis plays in.
Yeah.
Ma Rainey's?
Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. It was Chadwick Boseman's last film.
Oh, okay.
That was a good one too.
It was good.
See, that sounds like it's got tears in it. I don't know. Are people crying in that movie?
You may have some tears in it, but it's you have to really watch it to get the gist of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
One of those.
Oh,
Dennis,
yeah.
how about you? Somebody's got to like comedies like me. Come on, man. Dennis, what's the last thing you saw on Netflix?
The comedy was Christmas Vacation. I love that.
I love that movie.
So nobody's gonna fess up to watching Elf. Elf, was it?
Elf?
Oh,
no.
no, like that.
They never did like that. Well, I do the Grinch that stole Christmas every year.
You know what? I did watch that this year. I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
And because of my my Netflix account, right? Or not Netflix, Disney, I did bed knobs and broomsticks, and I did everything I could possibly do to make myself 9 years old again.
I'm not happy with Disney right now.
And I didn't read that, Timmy, so shut up. Don't.
I'm not happy with Disney right now.
What did he do?
Christmas Eve night, I wanted to watch the movie Santa Claus with Tim Allen.
Okay.
Oh,
And guess who pulled it from everywhere but Disney Plus?
oh.
I just figured it would be like overloaded and you couldn't get in, but you said
Nope.
it.
Hey, it's the movie the Tim Allen movie Santa Claus is only available streaming on Disney Plus.
And you don't have Disney Plus.
I will not pay Disney.
Okay.
I got Disney Plus. I got Disney Plus.
Okay, Samuel.
Well, then that's the part where you do the information exchange with Paul. Just do some password exchange.
We could do a watch party, Timmy. I'm down with that. Look,
I happened to find a channel on Christmas Day that was playing all 3 Santa Claus movies, but you had the commercials. So I had to record them so I could fast forward through the commercials.
Oh, Timmy, poor guy. But now you got it for next year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I watch Polar Express instead.
Polar Express. I like that one. I do. I like that one. I don't have a really a good Christmas show that I can think of.
What about A Christmas Story? That's a classic, and it comes on 2 channels for 24 hours straight.
Yeah. What did I watch? The last thing I watched was
Tell me you're gonna tell me that you don't think Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
It is. Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Isn't it? What's the other one? The Sixth Sense. Isn't that kind of a Christmas movie too?
Kind of, a little bit.
Not the Sixth Sense. It's not the Sixth Sense. That's the wrong one. That's where everybody dies. I'm talking about the one.
I know exactly what you're talking about. The with Chris Tucker and Bruce Willis. And Fifth Element.
The Fifth Element. Yes, yeah, that's Christmas. And I don't think they do anything about Christmas in it, but I guess they just started playing it around Christmas time. Dennis, you know that one?
What's the name of it?
The Fifth Element.
I think so, yeah.
where Bruce Willis is a cab driver in the future.
Yeah, that's good.
Nice. So they got you on lockdown down there, Dennis?
What? I'm saying it again.
What's COVID doing for you in Florida there?
Well, we can eat outside, so not being affected by it, and
Okay.
play pickleball, which is outside. So I'm good.
Hey, Paul.
What's pickleball? Hold on, Timmy. What's pickleball?
It's about the size of a half of a tennis court. Use a wiffle ball, hard plastic with holes in it, and think of a ping pong paddle that's bigger, and you cross the net, and you play like you serve underhand. It's really catching on. They play both indoors and out.
Interesting. Okay. All right, Timmy, what'd you say?
I was going to tell you that Dennis and I are so close together. If I could throw a tennis ball directly east across Tampa Bay, I could hit him.
Yeah.
Well, pull out your T-shirt cannon, man. What's wrong with you?
and we're not locked down. Our governor says party on.
Well, Florida was one of the early adopters, weren't they?
Our governor is trying to convince the NFL that the Super Bowl should be full capacity in Tampa next month.
Wow.
The NFL is telling our governor, no, it's not going to be. And he's like, dudes, we're cool. Oh, full capacity.
Well, what's your health department saying?
Health department saying whatever the governor says is cool.
And what are they reporting for COVID cases and deaths? Have they stopped reporting?
What?
It's about 100 per day.
The big thing going on right now with that is the woman that got fired and then later broke into one of the health department systems and started sending messages to everybody that they need to start whistleblowing on the state instead of letting the governor say what he wants to say.
Yeah.
So wait a minute, I'm lost. So she broke in to prove that they're
no. She was fired from the Department of Health because she was disagreeing with the governor. So then she broke into the Department of Health emergency communication system. I really can't call it a break-in because she was working for them. She knew the password to the system. They didn't change the password after they fired her. So she illegally accessed the system she knew the password to send a message to all of the public health officials in the state of Florida that they should become whistleblowers like her and turn on the governor.
Well, how'd that work for her?
She's been arrested. Everything she owns has been confiscated.
They raided her home.
Yeah, they raided her home. They arrested her. They confiscated everything she owns because she illegally accessed a state computer system.
Right. We lost somebody.
There isn't any real protection for whistleblowers in this country.
I don't think there is. There's supposed to be though.
The thing is that the mistake she made was that she tested and found out they didn't change a password to a state computer system. And after she was fired, she accessed that computer system and sent a message
through it.
And that was her mistake. She wasn't
copied all the addresses, right?
Whistleblowing cost her job, but costing her freedom is that she decided to retaliate by illegally using a computer system.
I don't know that it was retaliation so much as it was, come on, people, save some lives.
Right, but the thing is that she shouldn't have. She could have gone on the news all day long, but she shouldn't have used that computer system.
She could have downloaded. She could have downloaded everybody's contact information and gone over to another computer.
This is a system that the Florida Department of Health uses
to
communicate to all the public health people around the state when there's an issue.
Right.
The day she was fired, she was no longer authorized to use that system to send any communications, and she did.
Right.
So did she send the communication the same day, or did she wait a day or two?
Oh, it was over a month later.
Oh.
Yeah. So now there's malice of forethought.
I'm sure the is different now.
I mean, I'm with her all the way. You know, if you think the government official is doing wrong and you want to step up and whistleblow, I'm with her 100% there. But do it within the law.
Right, Lewis, you got to turn down whatever audio you got going because you're feeding back on the line. Either that or mute yourself, and that way when you want to talk, you can unmute you instead of me.
I don't know. Haven't there been a couple of whistleblowers that have ended up in prison or ended up to the point where they can't come back to the country? And...
Yeah, there's been a few whistleblowers. There's one that's still sitting in an embassy somewhere, isn't there?
Yeah.
Assange, somebody?
Yeah. And you know what? As a cybersecurity analyst, when I read about the type of access and the things that he had the ability to do, I'm scratching my head and saying, I've been told point blank in the 20 years I've been working where I work, that the minute they decide that I am no longer worth keeping employed, my access to everything is cut immediately.
Mm-hmm.
My access is only there because I am a permanently hired person who is responsible to them to be secure with their data. Assange was a contractor. The majority of the people that have committed these things are contractors. They come and they go. How do you want the contractor to have that much access to that sensitive data?
Well, if that's the job they're hiring them to do, Timmy, what are their choices?
No, you don't hire a contractor to do that, dude.
Right. Yeah.
You don't hire a contractor. You hire somebody permanently, so you have their signature on paper that says they will protect your data. Right. So that way, if they don't protect your data, you immediately have full recourse on them.
Huh. I'm sorry.
I don't give access. I don't give any of our new guys access to any of our systems, even after they've done their background check, their paperwork, until they've done the training.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. When you're talking cybersecurity, you're talking sensitive data, you're talking about, information about people that you don't want out there readily available. You can't just give everybody access to it because you need work. We had that problem over here where I work at when we were changing electronic medical record systems. The team that was in charge of migrating all of the patients into the new electronic medical record system, no big deal. They went out and hired data input analysts from a contracting company. Right. Next thing you know, I'm spending my entire Labor Day weekend doing an investigation because one of them was seen taking pictures. Okay, so now I got to spend my entire Labor Day weekend doing an investigation because I have to give a report on Tuesday morning on what happened with these people that until Friday afternoon, I didn't even know existed.
But so I have an idea. I have a solution. Well, an aside solution. It's about cybersecurity. I think we should develop a ULA policy for every human being. So you should have like an end user agreement that's just
okay.
You hear what I'm saying?
It's supposed to be there. It's supposed to be there.
Is it? We're supposed to have an end user's license?
If you have access to what's called protected information, whether it's electronic health information or private information, like enough to steal somebody's identity, the entity that's given you that access is supposed to have trained you, have you signed security documentation, done a background check on you and everything to make sure that you are trustworthy to have that access to that data.
Right, but I don't want it just for cybersecurity people. I want it for every human being. I want to be protected just because I'm a human being when I sign on to the internet and hit Google ULA.
Candace, you live in Flint, right?
I do.
All right. Can you do me a favor tomorrow morning? Can you pick Paul up, take him down to the clinic, and have him pee in a cup? Because he's smoking something, and I want to know what it is.
Agreed. But that's beyond the point, Timmy. What I'm trying to say is that we need a bill. We need an end users agreement as human beings because these corporations are taking advantage of our stupidity.
No. Do you know what the cottage industry, and it's not even a cottage industry, the industry of identity theft is bringing in these days?
Paranoia?
No, we're talking somewhere on the order of $12 million a month is being made from stealing people's personal information.
Interesting.
Okay, you're having your social security number, your date of birth, and your street address to me is worth about $100. Having your medical information to me is worth almost $1,000. You know what the difference is?
I can market more to your health needs than I can to the other.
I can steal health treatment and bill it to you faster and easier than I can create a credit card under your name.
So doesn't that take a lot of people?
No, sir, it does not, Paul.
Let me put it this way. You want to hear a very interesting story, one that really set my boss on edge when I told him?
I'm going to put you on full screen and I'm going to go get something to drink, so talk loud.
So, Jacksonville, Florida, this guy gets arrested on the side of the street. He's got a military duffel bag full of what we call face sheets. A face sheet is a printout from an electronic medical record system that has all your demographics, date of birth, street address, social security number, and your electronic medical record system. This is a guy who was selling these at $75 a piece on the streets in Jacksonville, Florida. He had probably $3 to $4 million in that duffel bag if he had not gotten caught.
$3 or $4 million.
Yeah.
So you're saying that it's a deep web, right? And there's a lot of people involved.
And the biggest part is it's the majority of of what's going on is coming out of the old former Soviet bloc countries. It's not. I mean, there are Americans, and one of the scariest stories I ever listened to was FBI guy going over. I don't know if you remember, probably about 8-9 years ago, somebody got a hold of the taxpayer database for the state of South Carolina.
Yes, I remember that.
Okay, a couple of years later, I was at a briefing where he talked about how they brought the guy down. And the guy that broke into the database, he had contracts for the data that he was going to steal from that database. He didn't do it by himself. The first thing he did was he went and hired somebody that basically was what we call social engineering, to go dumpster diving and find out information on one person. That all they needed was one person, and the guy found information on one person who worked for the South Carolina tax department, got her login information to get into her system. Then he paid a bunch of other guys to write the malware that he could get installed once he used her identity to get on the system, to get him the rest of the stuff he needed till he finally accessed the database he needed and downloaded it. And then he was just traveling around the world selling little portions of the data to only trusted individuals. And he had a couple of million, I think it was like $700 or $800 million worth of IDs to sell. That was his profit.
Tim.
Yes, ma'am.
since you're talking about that, right? The quote unquote hack job into the Treasury and Defense information, really a hack job or were they let in? Since you just told me that wild story, because before I wasn't buying the whole they hacked it, they hacked into the system, but now after hearing that story, I don't know. What do you think?
Here's the thing that, and I learned this at a symposium I was at probably about 8 years ago. It has gotten so bad out there that there is the idea of one person hacking has pretty much gone away because of the scale that it's going on at. So you have people that are great at gathering information and they sell the information they gather. Then you have people that are great at writing the malware and they sell that malware. You can right now, you can go to certain companies and you can buy a subscription to malware that the writer will guarantee you every time an antivirus can detect his malware, he will update it so that it gets by antivirus again.
Man. And this is, I mean, it's just like a subscription like to Time Magazine, right?
Right. It's just like a subscription to any piece of software. Updates are always available. Now, the hacking in that is equated to the Russians on this latest one, Candace, I think that's what you're asking about. That was started by and the Russians are probably a good deal in this. We know that the Russians, the Chinese, and the Iranian governments sponsor teams that are like military units, and that's all they do is and North Koreans are in there, and all they do is hack for espionage or what have you. We know that break-in happened because a piece of network monitoring software called SolarWinds, which I am very familiar with. Thank God we stopped using it about 5 years ago. But somebody hacked into SolarWinds and added their malware to an automatic update that was going out. So it went out to every customer using SolarWinds.
Wow.
The federal government.
Mute yourself so I don't have to mute you. If you mute yourself, you can unmute yourself when you talk. But we're getting some feedback.
The federal government is one of the biggest users of SolarWinds products.
It just sounds like the movie Hackers was ahead of its time. And then it's crazy how this sounds like Terminator at the same time.
It's scary sometimes, Candace. And when you do it for a living like I do, and you start reading some of these things, and you go into these symposiums and these conferences, and you're being taught what's going on and whatnot, and it's like, holy crap.
Why are people so evil?
Because money. Money.
We gotta get rid of money. We gotta get rid of money. That's all.
Like, hey, dude, all these people are talking about heading over to the electronic cash there, right? That's even worse.
The Bitcoin? Are you talking about Bitcoin?
One of the most prevalent pieces of malware floating around the internet right now is a tool called a Bitcoin miner.
Mm-hmm.
And people install it on heavy duty computer systems, and it just goes out there and it starts finding Bitcoin and stealing it.
Is there how do they detect these viruses though? How do you detect them?
Well, that's the thing is like the old days with the nuisance writers. You know, they use certain scripts and signatures and stuff like that, and that's what malware detection is pretty much about. Is looking at signatures of files and things along that nature. The serious heavy duty, what we call advanced persistent threat teams, APTs, like that work for the Chinese government, the Russian, they don't write stuff that uses signatures or scripts or things that are really, they develop something brand new for each and every customer they're going after.
And I would imagine if I were a hacker, which I'm not, putting that out there.
A disclaimer, good one.
I would imagine that I wouldn't put a signature on it anyway. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not talking about a signature like you signed your name to it.
No,
Signature.
I know what you're saying. It's like a certain way that they're writing the code and stuff.
Well, it's a certain the action that the software is taking. Okay, every piece of software that runs on the internet has a certain action it takes. Right. So, you know, one of the ways I do firewall management as well. And one of the ways people try to get around firewalls is to change certain norms about what they're doing to hide what they're doing from a firewall. However, if you have what we call the next generation firewall, it doesn't just look at the surface and say, all right, that doesn't look like anything I've ever seen. Let it go by. It actually digs deep into that data packet and says, what is this actually doing? What is the function of this piece of software? And that's the signature, because to come right down to it, every piece of software to work, function the way it needs to function on the internet has to have a norm. That's, you know, if you're into sharing files or you're into using Zoom or what have you, every application, the packets that it generates has a signature activity, a signature behavior, and you can train firewalls to look for that and block it. But so what these APTs will do is they will develop a completely brand new, never seen before piece of software so that nobody knows the signature. And by the time somebody discovers the signature, they've already written an update to change the behavior to keep doing what they're doing, but keep evading being caught.
And I got to tell you, if I were of the criminal element in the IT world, that makes perfect sense. That just makes it just does.
So what guys like me are trying to get people above us to understand is there are pieces of software out there that don't operate looking for heuristics and signatures and things along that. What they do is instead they give you, the computer owner, the ability to whitelist an application. So the computer, all of a sudden, something new starts up on the computer. The computer comes up and says to you, hey, Candace, this is something brand new I've never seen before. Do you want to allow it? And if you click no, it's blocked, period.
Nice. Hey, listen, we've got some people that have jacked in, Timmy. You see Chuck, say something. Hold on, Sharima. Chuck, say something.
How you doing? Hey, look here. I was having some technical difficulties. I couldn't get in for about 20 minutes, and it looked like it's a spell check problem going on because up under your face, Paul, it says the handsome one, and I know that can't be correct.
My computer's
great entrance.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Chuck, because I tried to dig him on that once before.
You need to erase that and put up your name.
See, I got this nickname when I was hanging out with you. Because y'all called me the handsome one. What's happening in New Mexico, baby?
Just trying to stay alive. We've been dealing with a lot of cold weather down here. Cold for us, like in the teens and stuff. But I've just been isolating and eating and loving my life.
Did you do anything special for Christmas? Did you kill anything for Christmas? I mean, New Year's?
No, my youngest son came over yesterday and grilled a chicken and then did me some chicken stir fry. So I washed it down with some fermented beverages and enjoyed myself.
I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you at all. Hey, Sharima, you and Sharima jacked in at the same time. How are you, darling?
Hey, Paul. Hey, Tim. Hey, Candace. Hey, Chuck. Hey, everyone. How you doing?
All right.
I'm thinking the only ones you don't know is Dennis and Lewis. Perhaps.
All right.
Right? And I don't remember Lewis. Lewis remembers me more than I remember Lewis. I'm going to talk to him after you. But what's going on in your world, Sharima? And do you agree with what Chuck said about my name?
Oh, I did hear what Chuck said about your name, Paul. I was chuckling over here. Sorry.
I get no respect. No respect at all. How are things going in your world?
Going great. I've been dog sitting these last couple of weeks, and that has been a fun endeavor. Let me tell you.
How many dogs?
2 dogs. I've had them, but my friend and I were tag teaming on behalf of our other friends, so we've been doing dog switch ups and whatnot. So I never had more than one at the same time, but I've had constant dog activity for the last 2.5 weeks, and that's been fun.
Nice. It keeps you healthy. You've been out walking the dog?
Yeah, I do. I've been out walking them. I've been out chasing sticks and chasing balls and having lots of fun.
And then you let the dog do things too, right?
Right, Paul. Yes.
All right. I'm going to talk to Lewis for a second. I got to remember where I remember not remembering you. Lewis, why don't I know who you are?
You don't know who I am because at the start of the pandemic, I started watching somebody put me on to the Flint City Council, and that's where I learned you from.
I'm so sorry.
No, but I've actually learned a lot about Flint through some of the things that I've read and watched, and that's all I can say. That's where I know you from.
Well, wait a minute now. So you're an outsider. Where are you from? And tell me, what do you think? What do you think about Flint?
I am actually originally from Mississippi and Louisiana area, and I'm living back in Mississippi now. But I was raised in Louisiana and went to school in Louisiana. And what's the second question you asked me?
Second question, we got some fresh eyes. We got an outsider here looking at Flint through our microscope. And what is your thought?
Oh, I think that Flint actually is a very good place. It has some good people. There's just a lot of politics like it's everywhere else in the world.
Is your city council anything like ours? Stop laughing. I see Candace over there.
Flint is one of a kind.
That's a good answer.
Okay, I guess that would be a PC answer, but it's not what I want to. That's not what I want to hear.
It's true though.
Mr. Paul.
Hold on,
Mr. Paul.
Yes, sir.
You taped the Flint City Council meetings, and I remember at one time after watching every Flint City Council meeting that you were there, and then they wanted to hire somebody. Well, they wanted to hire somebody, and then you came back. So you should know more about City Council than I.
I do. I know a lot about City Council, and I know a lot about getting hijacked, and I know a lot about falling on the sword, and I know a lot about.
But the reason why I keep in touch with you is because I know you're a good person. I can tell that much.
Well, that's good. That's good. That's good. I think
Mr. Tim might say something different than I, but you seem like a very
Don't
good
listen
person.
to him. Don't listen to
him. I would not say he is a good person. I've known him for quite a while, and he is a good person. The moniker he's given himself of the handsome one, well, that's debatable.
Thank you.
I don't think so, ladies. You want to
false
chime in now?
advertising.
Take me up in here, please.
You're very handsome, Paul.
See?
Oh, cut it out.
You ain't got to lie, Sharima. You ain't got to lie.
Let Mr. Chuck answer that one.
Oh, y'all are just jealous because you didn't think of it first.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, you got to be the change you want to see, Ugly Chuck. I mean, Chuck from Flint.
Now, if I had put the handsome one under my photo, I don't know if I would be leading or just being very eclectic.
See? So it works two ways, okay?
Oh.
It works two ways. It's what you call a...
That's a good description. Hey, Lewis, my family is from Louisiana and Mississippi. We're from Anacoco in Louisiana, Anacoco and Leesville, and we're from Gulfport.
I think she's
in Mississippi.
Okay, I've been to Gulfport.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to Gulfport. My one of our girlfriends, Julie Byer, lived in Gulfport.
Yeah, that's where my parents met. That's where my mother is from. That's where my parents met, and the rest of our family is all from Louisiana, from the deep woods. So we have land right on the Sabine River, which separates Louisiana from Texas.
Nice. And I take it I don't want to go and visit Chuck.
Hey, Paul.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Does
you
Angela
have family in New Mexico too.
Yeah. Actually, she's the one that got us down in Mardi Gras, and for Mardi Gras, we went to Gulfport and stayed at her house. So, you can't get me. He's trying to get me in trouble. You son of a-
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Tim could get you in trouble in a minute, Paul. You know it.
He's trying. He is trying.
He doesn't have to try. He can just tell a story or two, and then
Listen, I miss my friend Chuck. He's in New Mexico all by himself, and he probably doesn't have any friends. So I want to give him an opportunity to say something, man. Let people know you're out there.
Okay, my father's father is from Mississippi, and my mother's father is from Louisiana. So I got connections to those two states as well. Good food too.
See, I don't know that that's bragging. I'm always been scared of the South, man. Come on now. Bad things happen down south. Yeah.
Things happen in Michigan and New Mexico too.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Mr. Paul, I have a question for everybody.
Okay.
If you were to wanted to advise someone to move to Flint, Michigan, would you?
Yes.
Yes, I would. For sure. Who said yes first? That was
me.
Well,
that was me.
Tell me.
Yes, absolutely. So there is much to appreciate about Flint. First of all, our history, but also that we're up and coming. And once all the pipes are fixed, we will have joined Madison, Wisconsin and Lansing, Michigan in having changed over our water infrastructure. And so we're also, we have a wonderful, our old houses, and many of them, Paul lives in one of them and owns another one. And his studio is in another one.
Don't tell on me.
I'm telling on you. You live in Carriage Town. It's a great place. So, no, there's so much to appreciate about Flint. We have all the amenities. We've got really great places to go to for clubbing, for restaurants, for festivals. We just amazing people. We've got a lot of people who are civically engaged. A lot of us do a lot of volunteering. I don't know. Candace, what do you think? What would you say?
Wait a minute, you didn't mention that Paul the Handsome One Herring lives there. I don't understand.
I just said, hello, I just said you're in Carriage Town and that you own 3 of the old houses there.
Okay, all right. So let's have Candace hit a shot. Hold on a second. Candace, what do you think?
Geez, then he just puts the camera on you and you just have to answer the question. I think it's like Paul always says, Flint is a great place to make better. I would agree with Sharima's assessment of the people. We have just an amazing just kind of spirit here in Flint as far as some of the things that Sharima named. But, unfortunately, when you're part of the politics part of it, it's always like, basically, Flint is a great place to make better, and the more the merrier. So come on down, move to Flint, live in Flint, help us make it better.
There you go.
I like the way you think. I like the way you are brilliant. You are brilliant. But you know what I think, and I'm going to tell you what I think. What Flint reminds me of is one of those like appliance sales guys, the crazy appliance guys, where he's just saying, "Hey, come on down. Everything's on sale. You can afford this. You can buy this. You can buy that." I talked to my kid, and he's spending $2,500 a month on a 1-bedroom apartment in Los Angeles.
Oh my God!
What kind of sense does that make? I want the Flint administration to put some kind of package together, commercials or radio ads or TV ads to send out to LA and explain to these people that you can live like kings in Flint, Michigan and telecommute wherever you are.
That's exactly right.
You sell your car, you can buy a mansion in Flint. You sell your house, you can buy 2.
Yes.
If you can telecommute.
Well, for those, yeah.
Have you ever been up to San Jose or Santa Clara up in that area?
Yes.
Okay, so that's Silicon Valley. And because you got Google and all them paying top dollar up there, 100K a year is entry level salary.
Right.
That's what it equates to in most other parts of the country is entry level. You know, you can't look at a house for less than $750,000 to $1 million. And people, you know, I read an article recently here about a couple working at Google combined making $38 an hour, and they can't find affordable housing in San Jose at $38 an hour.
Right. That's why you buy a helicopter and fly in from Nevada, right?
Yeah. Well, speaking of helicopters, I got one circling my house. So if I disappear, it is searchlights are on, so I might have to run for a bit.
Oh no! If you come back with aluminum foil on your head, I am not telling anybody.
Oh no, I'm not an aluminum foil kind of guy. I'm worried about the helicopter with the searchlights going.
I don't know what you did before you started this stream, but I'll vouch for you for the last 60 minutes.
I just love that Tim is wearing short sleeves on this incredibly awful night in Flint, Michigan tonight. The weather is bloody awful.
Sharima, I was telling Paul earlier, last Saturday morning, I got up and drove about an hour north of here to a Boy Scout camp to spend the week helping out in the kitchen. And Saturday night, sleeping in an unheated cabin, and it got down to 27 degrees.
Oh my! That would be roughing it. Sure.
That's cold. That's Florida cold. That's cold, Timmy.
So cold. Today it was in the mid 80s with a low in the 60s.
So what do you think the Boy Scouts learned, Timmy? What did they learn? Oh,
this particular course, this was my 7th time, and one way or another working on this course. It's called National Youth Leadership Training, and it's basically the same course that you'll see a lot of corporations will do to their leaders to teach how to lead, make decisions, working together, conflict resolution and all that. But they've adapted it to 12 to 18-year-olds to teach them how to lead themselves and other youth. And it is such a great course. Like I said, this is my 7th time doing it, and it's a week, and it's a rough week.
Okay. All right. And I mean, is it only for your Eagle Scouts or what?
No. The requirement for this course is the young man has to be a minimum of 12. They prefer 13, but if the Scoutmaster says at 12 he is mature enough, he can come, but he has to be a rank of first class.
Okay.
And
hey, Chuck, you were a Boy Scout, weren't you?
Yeah, back in the 60s and 70s, yes.
Okay, back in that day, Chuck, they called the course JY. They called it JYLT or JLT.
We got a lot of readers. Lewis, were you a Boy Scout?
Yes, I was a Boy Scout, and I was in ROTC through middle school and high school as well.
Nice. Dennis, were you in the Boy Scouts?
Yes, made it to life.
Made it to a lifer, huh?
Yeah.
Is life over Eagle?
No, life is the next step below Eagle, the last step below Eagle, I should say. And a lot of young men make it to life and don't make Eagle.
Okay.
Yeah. You get in high school and you lose interest.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's what happened to one of my sons. I've had several young men just completely run out of time. They get busy with a job and school and sports, and they just run out of time. Because you got to make Eagle before your 18th birthday,
right,
or it's all over.
Right. I got 2 Eagle Scouts here in the Hearing household. Both Marcus and Paul made Eagle.
Yeah, I got one son that made Eagle, one son that went into freshman year of high school so close to Eagle he could have been done halfway through the freshman year, but he looked at me and said, "Yeah, Scouts is not fun anymore. I quit."
Nice. It happens.
It does. But this, like I said, this particular course, even if the young man doesn't earn the rank of Eagle, what it teaches them, and I've sat through this exact same course 3 different times in my professional career. It teaches leadership, decision making, and things along that nature, self-confidence. And to me, that's for these young men, that's very important, or young people, because they made it co-ed. Actually, it was the first year that I ran it as the head guy. It was the year that they made it co-ed. And
it doesn't sound like any of that's going to help them with their cyber crimes, Tim. I don't understand. Aren't you trying to be like Dr. No and have these kids work for you and start stealing identities and stuff or anything?
No, not at all. Not at all. I want these kids. These are the kids that are going to be taking care of me. I mean, look at me. All this gray. I'm old. My time is done. These are the kids that are making the decisions that are going to be taking care of me. I want them to know what they're doing and be confident about it.
So you remember each and every time you threaten these children with bodily harm, right?
I don't threaten my boys. I threaten my own children with bodily harm. my scouts, I have other ways of punishing them.
like making them pitch a tent next to you, right?
Drag their tent right next to mine in the middle of the night so I can hear every word and yell at them without getting out of my one of the young men that was here earlier, he's now in the Marine Corps, was one of my scouts several years ago on a camping trip up into the woods of Georgia on Saturday morning, the last day we were there. They had an aluminum trash barrel in the middle of the campsite that was tempting me all week. So on Saturday morning, I picked this aluminum trash barrel up. And I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The DI or have ever been to Marine Corps boot camp, but every Marine is trained on how to use an aluminum trash barrel as an alarm clock.
Okay.
Right? And that's what I did on Saturday morning. I could not resist any further. I grabbed the aluminum trash barrel and I grabbed a stick and I went around the camp just slamming it on that aluminum trash barrel, yelling, Reveille, get up, get out of the rack, Reveille.
And what was this, like 4:30 in the morning, 5 maybe?
It was 6.
And again, these are the kids that are going to take care of you?
I've got 4 of them that have gone in the Marine Corps. I got a couple that have gone in the Navy, a couple that are off in college. One of them actually argues with me constantly on Facebook now. He's going to be a lawyer, and he
practicing.
He and I are on diametrically opposed sides of the political spectrum. Okay. So we're constantly butting heads on our beliefs and political beliefs.
Nice.
And people say to me all the time, how are these guys not parrots of you? And I look at my daughter is the number one. And I say, at one point she did parrot me. And I looked at her and I said to her, don't parrot my political views. Use your own brain, come to your own decisions. And
now she hates you, right?
Huh?
And now she hates you.
She doesn't hate me. She hates my politics. She doesn't hate me.
She hates your politics. Dad, how can you be such a wow?
But the funny part is, I look back now at when I decided to leave the Democrat Party and become a Republican. A friend of mine told her mother, who knew my mother, and that woman was just like, "Oh my God, your mother must be so disappointed. How the heck did that happen in your family?" Right? Well, now I got people saying the same thing to me about my daughter. What? How did you end up with a daughter that's a Bernie Sanders clone? And I look at her and I say, because she did her research, and this is what she feels and believes.
I ain't mad at you.
I ain't mad at her either. She did her own research.
So I got to ask you guys, what's the hope for 2021? We're leaving 2020, and I'm glad to see it go. I don't know about you guys, but my friend list has been cut in half since this thing has started. So
my family list has been cut in half since this thing has started.
Unbelievable. But we got a new year, a new day, a new horizon. People are getting kind of used to this, and that's scaring me. More so the social distancing than physical distancing. It should have never been social distancing. So we really need to correct that and make it physical distancing and social togetherness. We got to find a way to get people together, because if they separate us, man, it's over. It's over.
And that's the thing, Paul, I'm with you 100%. I think the biggest problem is the fact that, and it started years ago, is people started being socially distanced. Well, if you don't agree with me, then you and I can't be friends. I don't care if you're my family member. If we don't agree, I don't want to talk to you. And that is the biggest problem I see right now.
Right. Well, even if we disagree on 10 things, there's got to be a million things we agree on. You know what I mean?
It's not just about being polarized with politics, although yes, that's a part of it. It's also about whether or not they're actually doing what they should be doing. And if you're not, and you're calling this all a leftist hoax, and you're not doing what you need to do to take precautions, and I'm not going to be around you because you are putting my body at risk because you don't care about how you're putting yourself at risk.
And that's physically distance. But because somebody has a differing opinion of you, are you no longer talking to them? Did you delete them from your friend list? Did you start calling them bad? And that's the things that's driving me nuts right now. And we're being trained to do this, to either force people to think the same way we think or walk away from them.
It's a little bit deeper than that.
There are some things that are non-negotiable. Say, for instance, if I believe I have the right to live, breathe, and move freely, and it doesn't matter what color my skin is or my gender, any of those things, and you believe the complete opposite, and because of my color or my gender, whatever, then no, we can't be friends. There's no middle ground. There's nothing.
We were never friends to begin with. Okay, that's my thing. We were never friends to begin with. But if you and I, we're getting along, and I agree with you on all of that. However, I believe this way politically, and you believe that way politically, then we can still talk, right? Or as Sharima said, okay, Sharima and I are friends. If I don't believe I want to wear a mask, and she believes that she doesn't want to be anywhere near me because I don't wear a mask, we can still be friends. We just don't physically get together. But when you start saying, you know what, you disagree with me, delete, I don't want to talk to you ever again. Now, I understand that there are some things but that's, the basis of friendship. If it's not fair to begin with.
I think, though, Tim, we're in times where the things that we are disagreeing about are kind of extreme deal breakers. But somehow we've gotten out of the time where it has been something as simple as, okay, you're a Republican, X, Y, Z about this issue. It just seems like there's just a lot of extreme beliefs, and then there's a lot of things that it's kind of infringing upon other people's right to just be human. You know what I'm saying? We somehow have gotten beyond like the basic disagreement things. You know what I'm saying? It seems like we're in deal breaker territory with a lot of things.
I agree with you. I will say that it's things that, okay, because we're in social media now, we're finding out about each other, and probably we would have never been friends to begin with if we met face to face and found these things out about each other. But like, I've had people, just because I believe that, like, we were talking earlier about the fixing the plumbing problem. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, if you're going to get a settlement from the government, you should need to do that. I've had people that turn around and tell me, you know what, because you don't believe that the government is the solution to everything, you and I can't be friends. See you later. Get out of my face. Goodbye. I never want to talk to you again.
Yeah, that's a bad thing, I guess. But is it? Because person that would take one issue.
Have we ever gotten along on 100% of our thinking?
Well, I get that about cancel culture, and that's absolutely a problem. But it's also about what it really says about and I'm going back to the people who call this all a leftist hoax and are not taking care. when they've called themselves deeply Christian for the last 45 years. And yet one of the greatest pillars of Christianity is to love your neighbor. But if you continue to go out and continue to put other people in danger, including grocery store clerks, including bank clerks, the post office people, our medical personnel, because you are contributing to this culture that is filling our hospitals, you do not love your neighbor. And in fact, you have taken an axe to that pillar all by yourself. You've done that. So it's really brought, to me, it's deeply hypocritical. It's deep hypocrisy that is also contributing to this, I don't really want to be in your presence kind of thing.
So I call myself deeply Christian and all that. But unlike the person you just presented, I do wear a mask. I'm not worried about me getting the virus. I'm worried about if I have the virus, passing it on to somebody else. So out of respect for everybody I come in contact with, I wear the mask.
Yes. But see, I have family members who were positive for COVID a few months ago, and I received a phone call from another family member who told me that they knew that these family members were they knew they were contagious and they were still out and about in the community. Yeah. So and you'll find I have not severed ties with them, but we've severed ties in other ways. We've severed ties emotionally. We've severed ties psychologically. I still wish them Merry Christmas and I wish them well, but they are not the people that I knew them to be.
So this is a test. This is a test. We're experiencing a test of social adequacy, or loving one's neighbor, or finally, proving what you've been listening to every Sunday.
I think it's more, Paul, what you would going back to what you said, is that we have to be careful that we don't let ourselves become divided, because as a divided people, we're easier to conquer.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's part of Trump's plan. Trump is planning on dividing us for the next 4 years, so that when the time is right and when the presidency is available again, he can swoop in with his organized I don't care folks and take over. My belief is
that our politicians, both parties, have been trying to do this for many, many more years than Trump has been around. They have been separated by race, by gender, by social economic situations, by personal orientations. They've been, I mean, identity politics is no other way than I could put it. We're always being segregated.
Yeah, I'm not going to blame the Republicans more than the Democrats. It's the whole political system. As long as we're not organized, they are.
Oh, yeah. Candace is trying to say something. I want to hear Candace.
Tim said they've been dividing us for votes for years. Don't worry.
But isn't that exactly what we should be worried about?
Yeah.
I'm just of the belief, and like I said, we are unfortunately a lot of things we're unfortunately in deal breaker territory with. Then there are some other things that I agree that have been blown out of proportion. There are some things that is just like, come on now. This isn't the thing that we should be divided about. This isn't the thing that we should be upset about. And another thing is whether you agree on, or one way or the other about, government involvement or not, the proof remains that we're in the middle of a global pandemic. And when it was time for the United States of America, for the leadership there, Congress to come together and make choices, they fought and politicized it the whole time, and people suffered. And I always tell people, you blame whatever side you want, but the reality is they didn't come together. They didn't make an agreement on anything. They thought about a stimulus payment for 9 months while people's bills went unpaid, while businesses were shut down, while people were struggling. They sat and they collected checks. They went on vacation more than once while all of this was going on. And so I think if nothing else, if that didn't rally us to come back together and go, wait a minute, every time you need us to vote, you come in, you work for us. When we tell you you need to actually go to work for us and get something that actually works for us in the middle of a global pandemic, you go on vacation not once, but twice, actually a third time, before you decide to even vote on some sort of relief or some sort of help. Or you went home at night knowing people were suffering. And I don't understand how leadership can do that. That it has never sat right in my spirit. Even now, one of the biggest things that I care about are people that are experiencing homelessness. It doesn't sit right in my spirit for me to sit in a house night after night, safe and secure, knowing there are people on the street. You know what I'm saying? And so for our government to not feel the same way of I'm going home, still getting my salary while people are suffering, while unemployment is through the roof and unemployment is jammed up, so people aren't even actually getting checks, but I'm going to keep going on vacation. I'm going to keep doing this, rather than we need to all sit down, come together, and come to a solution. And it was the fact that it was so overly politicized from the beginning was absolutely crazy to me. On both ends, it was crazy.
Exactly. You know, and the day that it was.
Do you know how much?
The day it was driven home to me, Paul, was probably about 10 years ago now. I was reading an article. You know what data warehousing is, right?
Hold on. Hold your thought, Timmy. Let me hear what Lewis has to say. Lewis, what were you about to say? Hold your thought, Tim.
Do you all know how much a U.S. representative or a senator gets paid? Are you talking about they're going on three vacations?
Yeah. Yes.
114,000 for a U.S. representative, and I'm not sure about the senators, or I might have it backwards. But that's a whole hell of a lot of money.
Yep.
For something that was never intended to be a job. You know what I mean?
Not a full-time,
right?
So here's what I want to do. I want to introduce some legislation that does not allow any white male under 30 years of age from running for an office.
What?
Legislation that makes it so no white man under the age of 30 can run for a political position.
And what's the
How
purpose?
about no white men
at all?
I was trying to be nice, Sharima.
I have no problem taking it there. Let me tell you.
I just want a 10-year moratorium on it. I am so tired of looking at these old, crusty white men in the Senate and in Congress.
Okay, over. Hey, Paul. There is another attempt going on right now, and you know there's two different ways to amend the Constitution, right?
Okay.
So the one way is
new president, but what's the next one?
No. What was that, Candace? I didn't catch that. I'm sorry.
We don't want a constitutional Congress until we get a new president. So what's your next one?
Okay. So the one way to amend it is to get that crowd in Washington D.C. to vote on something to amend the Constitution and then send it out to the states to get ratified. Well, you know that crowd in Washington, D.C. is not going to vote term limits, and they're not going to vote for a balanced budget amendment or something that limits them or constricts them. Right. So there is a group called the Convention of States, COS, that is going around right now to take the other way. They're going state by state, because if you get a amendment or you get a bill passed in 3/4 of the states legislatures calling for a constitutional convention.
Convention,
it has to happen.
Yeah, we don't want one right now, though. We need to get a new president sworn in first. We don't want that.
But that's not even, because the president has nothing to do with that.
It's going to take 2 days.
They have to come in. They have to come in. There's a specific bill that's being passed in each of these states. And in that one that's going through the states, they're passing a bill that says the purpose solely to amend the Constitution, to add term limits to the Senate and the House, and to make a requirement that the federal government, except for in the time of emergencies, has to balance its budget like every state in the nation does.
And I give
I can't wait.
The whole South.
I saw Candace just jumping up and down, ready to say something. This is gonna be good.
No, I meant to say constitutional convention. I kept saying Congress. The reason I say that is because regardless of if you feel like the president doesn't have any say or not, you've got to understand we've got like a cult-like following that's going on right now. So what you don't want is someone still in that office with that amount of influence. Not saying that he won't still have a certain amount of influence, but sometimes when you're no longer the winner, people fall off from you. You know what I'm saying? And so you got to be careful and think about the amount of influence that goes into that commander-in-chief position. I'm just saying, Tim, it's something.
And I understand that, and I understand that that's a concern if the Congress does it. But if you got 50 individual states that have passed a bill that says, here are the things that we want to amend the Constitution with, what is it going to take for them to change beyond that? You got to go back and pass it through all 3/4 of all the 50 states again in order to add anything to it, which I think is better that way, because if the 500 and whatever down in Washington, D.C. call for the Constitutional Convention, now you got to worry about what's Mitch McConnell doing, what's Nancy Pelosi doing, what's Schumer doing.
Absolutely.
If you get 40 of the 50 United States that do it, you don't have to worry about Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer.
I don't know.
It matters who's spearheading it on the state level, doesn't it, Tim?
But
the Proud Boys are the sponsor of the bill in Alabama.
But the thing is, Paul, at the state level, passed at the state level, it specifically says what is to be discussed. It's not like somebody can spring something up in the middle of the convention like they can if that crowd in Washington, D.C. calls it. If it's a state-by-state call, like I said, right now, this group called the COS, Convention of States, they've got about 25 to 30 states that have already passed it, but it's a specific bill that they are having introduced in each state that has to pass both the House and Senate in every state.
Do you know if it says anything about them having to give us the same health care they have?
No. All this one says that the Convention of States is passing is term limits on congressmen and senators, and except for in times of emergency, the federal government has to balance its budget like every state has to balance.
Do you know what the limit is? Is it 8 years, 12 years, 4 years?
It's different for each job, because a congressman gets reelected every 2 years, whereas a senator gets reelected every 6 years.
Right.
So it would be just like the states where you only get this term if you're a senator, this term if you're a rep.
Well, and here in Florida, it's different. I mean, it says the same thing, but it's different. If you get elected to a 2-year position and it's 2 terms, that's 4 years. If you get elected to a 6-year or a 4-year position and it's 2 terms, so in Florida it says 2 terms, period. You can only run for that office once and then re-election once, period.
So this is the thing, and if Deep Blue were on, he'd kill me. I don't hide the fact that I believe they should be term limited. Mitch McConnell has literally been in office longer than I've been alive. And so it's just like, and he's not done Kentucky any favors. And
I'm 100% with you there, but he's not the only one. That's the killer part. If you look at,
I'm just using him as an example for why I feel so
you look at that entire leadership up there, and you say these people have been holding these positions for 4 to 5 decades.
Yeah,
and they ain't got it right yet. Okay, my boss always said to me, "I get one shot. If I don't get it right, time to go."
Yeah. I am in agreement with that, to the point where it's just like, you know what? You went in there when you were like 20 and 30. Now you're 70 and 80. And I don't know how much of your mindset has changed from when you went in when you were 20 and 30, if you've moved along with the times, which it's clear a lot of them have not. Or, you know, and then another thing, because the argument is that I hear all the time is, well, lobbyists will then control, like lobbyists control them now. Lobbyists control them.
Well, that's the first thing that needs to be made illegal. Why is lobbying even legal? Why is it legal?
if you look at that bill that just passed, that gives each one of us $600, but gives all that money to foreign aid and everything else.
Yep.
It was over 5,000 pages. You gonna tell me that any one of those congressmen sat down and helped to draft bull? It was written, and this is the thing that I keep telling my daughter included, all the Bernie supporters that love Elizabeth Warren and Bernie. They keep talking about income taxes. Well, first of all, those people don't pay income taxes. Second of all, their lobbyists wrote the bill, so the loopholes are big enough that the rich people will be able to drive a truck through that bill. Warren Buffett can sit up there all day long and say that he don't pay as much in income taxes as his secretary, and he's not lying, because Warren Buffett doesn't pay income taxes. Warren Buffett pays capital gains taxes, and there's no change to the capital gains tax laws.
Right. So it's all a setup. It has been, like you said, since the 60s, Candace. So what's going to make it different now? Why are we going to attack it now when they tried to get rid of it in the 60s, and they tried to get rid of it in the 70s, and they tried to get rid of it in the 80s and the 90s? What makes it different?
Do you know when politics became a job and a career?
60s, 70s?
1920s is when they changed the pay scale to go from a part-time pay scale to a full-time pay scale, and that's when politics became a career.
It makes sense.
Here in Florida, the politics, it's a part-time paycheck. Okay, they don't make no more than $45,000 a year from politics. These House and Senate have to pass. They got come into session for 6 months, and at the end of 6 months, they have to pass a budget and everything else, and then they go home and they live in the world they're creating in Florida.
That sounds impressive. I mean, it's the same here, isn't it? I mean, our reps are getting 45, 55,000, right, kid?
Our reps are full-time. Michigan is actually one of the few states where the reps are full-time.
Massachusetts is another one.
Yeah. And so these state reps make 71,000, and they get like a 10,000 allowance, but they're full-time.
Okay.
71,000.
What's happening down there in New Mexico, Chuck, you know?
71, Lewis.
I have no clue.
Lewis, how about your part of the woods? Dennis, well, you're down there with Timmy and Floyd.
Louisiana has 4-year terms. I don't know what they make, but Louisiana is a 4-year term, and Mississippi is a 4-year term.
But is it a part-time or a full-time legislature? That's the question you want.
Knowing what I know, they're full-time.
Okay, because if they're in session if they're in session all year long, and they don't have to go out and actually earn a living and run a business and raise their family in the state economy they're creating, then they don't know what your experience is.
But Mr. Tim, what about the ones that you say they earn 45,000 for a part-time job?
Yeah,
I mean, some people don't even make that on a full-time job.
Now, granted, they don't. There's some people don't make that in Florida, but that's what they pay. But the thing is, they're not in session the entire year. They come. The session starts in January, right? It'll start next week, and they have until June 1st to have everything settled, passed, and they're out of session. They are not in session unless the governor calls for a special session any longer than 6 months out of the year.
So now, I didn't want to talk about this at all.
So in Michigan, real quick, the way that it works in Michigan is while they're supposed to be in session all year, take July and August, for instance.
Vacation.
1 day of session scheduled each month, or 2 or 3 days each month.
Vacation.
Yeah. And then after that, they get like, so I'll say what, January through June, they're there pretty much the whole time. Then July and August, they'll schedule like session once or twice. And most of the time it'll be no record, no roll call session. And And then after that, they'll come back in September, and then it gets kind of spotty in November, December.
When I lived in Massachusetts, Candace, it was the same way. It is the same way up there. All right. They call themselves a full-time legislature. They get full-time paychecks. Mm-hmm. And when one of the news reporters up there did an actual count of how many days that they were actually in session, and it was less than 180 working days that they were in session.
Right. And then, like, I think with the terms, state rep, you get 3 2-year terms.
Wow.
So
okay.
All right. Let me ask this question now. Mm-hmm. I try to think of a theme for the show. And we have gone so far asunder. How many of you guys have siblings? Are we any only children here? You're the only child, Lewis? All right, well, you might not be able to participate in this, but I want you to remember back when you were a child. What was the last thing you broke that you got in trouble for? Do you remember? Do you remember your siblings saying, "Ooh, I'm telling"?
That was always. I grew up with 3 sisters, no brothers. I was always the one getting told on.
So you just say everything, right, Timmy?
I got beat by my mother the night before I left for Marine Corps boot camp.
What'd you do the night before you left boot camp?
I brought my girlfriend home for the weekend.
That was probably worth a beating, right, Chuck?
Yeah, I take a whooping for that.
Tim, I'm the opposite. 3 brothers, no sisters growing up. And so, Paul, that question is not a good one for me because all I thought was I had one brother that was always breaking stuff and getting in trouble.
Ooh, and you didn't help.
Where did you fit in the level there, Candace? You were at the top, bottom, or middle?
I'm a middle child, actually. So second born.
I had 2 sisters older, 1 sister younger.
Yeah.
And so, like, when I wanted to watch hockey, the 2 older sisters would pin me on the floor, and the younger sister would change the channel.
Nice. That reminds me of that Campbell soup. Have you ever seen that Campbell soup commercial for the chunky soup, where they're passing the bowl down, and each brother takes a spoonful and puts it in his bowl, and then the youngest kid gets to it. He says, "There's chicken in this?"
I had something similar to that happen to me on a camping trip one time, summer camp. I started the bowl the other way, and the bigger kids didn't like that.
Nice. Dennis? Brothers, sisters? Uh-oh, you're muted. Did I mute you? Yeah, I'm sorry. I muted you.
I have one sister that's 1 year younger than I, but the last time that we got in trouble was preteens. We playing with matches. We burned my uncle's corn crib down.
Oh, my corn crib is big, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very ignitable.
Dried cornstalk.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, isn't that what they make fertilizer bombs out of?
I don't know, but the fire department was out there for a couple hours putting it out.
And who took the blame for it?
My cousin and I both. And
no criminal charges were filed, I take it.
No, I mean, it's my uncle's property.
Okay. All right. He missed the bullet on that one. Chuck, what do you got?
When I was, this wasn't the last time, but this is the only thing I can remember. I was laying up under my parents' bed one day with a cigarette lighter, lighting the ravels that was coming off the box spring, and I couldn't put it out. So my mother had to go to get the neighbor next door to flip the bed up and put it out. It's about to burn the house down. With my dumb ass.
Nice. And your sister will attest to that for you?
She was real little. She probably doesn't even remember because I was only about 5 or 6, so she might have been 1 or 2.
Nice. Now, Sharima, yeah, you were only child, weren't you, Sharima?
I think I've frozen.
No, you're not frozen. I had you muted. I'm sorry.
Thank you. No, okay, everybody's frozen on my screen, but okay, so if you can hear me, that's great.
Everybody move.
All right. Yeah. So no, my brother. I have a younger brother.
Okay. And what was the last thing you got in trouble for? Do you remember?
Well, no, I don't, because it was a very long time ago, and now I'm trying to think. I mean, he was very adventurous, but we were in a fundamentalist community, and so girls and women, at least this girl, was very protected, which is another reason why I left. But so he had a lot more adventurous stories to talk about than I ever did until I left, and then God, the adventures abounded. But that's a different kind of show. So
nice. Well, it wasn't until Chuck mentioned his lighter and Dennis talked about the fire that I started thinking about mine. And I remember my sister, me and my brother were watching how Santa Claus invaded the Martians, and the Martians invaded Santa Claus. It was somewhere around Christmas time. And my sister ran downstairs to get us, and we ran upstairs, and she had taken Scotch tape and hung a incense from the ceiling over her bed so that she could make her room smell pretty. And she fell asleep, and the incense started the mattress on fire. And
I want to blame that on Christy. She was a perfect angel.
Perfect angel, right? But me and my brother, we were going to take care of it so she didn't get in trouble. We put it out. Or at least we thought we did. Hour later, that baby stroked back up.
Mr. Paul, I had two brothers and a sister.
Did you? And
y'all talking about lighters? You talking about lighters?
Uh-oh. Well, we're talking
about lighters. We were in the say again?
That's it. We're talking about lighters getting in trouble.
I lit one in the utility room that we used to have. It used to go down into like a bottom, and I lit the lighter in the utility room, and I think the hot water heater was in there, and there was propane. Well, that lit our world up a little bit. I guess it was leaking gas.
Oh my goodness!
And it was an explosion, or it just caught on fire?
It wasn't anything on fire. It was just like a quick boom to let you know that I guess there was some gas in there. But we ran a little ways after that, I believe.
I bet you did. How old were you?
Oh Jesus, probably 4 or 5, something like that.
Oh my goodness! Yes, indeed.
Being bad, playing with lighters.
Being bad. All right. Well, listen, guys, we have gone well over time, and I just thought I wasn't going to say anything because it was New Year's Day, and I really enjoyed seeing your smiling faces. So let's close out. See if there's anything you want to say to the world before we call it done. Oh, let's start with Timmy since he's the long-winded one. Timmy, go for it.
I just want to remind everybody that this is the year that the 21st century turns legal to drink. Hold your beer.
That's great.
Nice. Dennis, what do you got for us, baby? As I catch you with a mouthful.
Wish everyone a happy new year. Pray you're blessed. Hope to get back with you here soon.
All right. Great to have you, Dennis. Candace, what do you got?
Oh, this was a blast. I want to do this again. I really enjoyed it. It was very nice to meet you, Dennis. Very nice to meet you, Louis. And Paul, you should be proud of me because Louis has on an LSU shirt, and I did not once talk about college football. You should be very proud of me. Have a happy New Year. Serena, good to see you again. And thank you so much for tuning in. Paul, invite me back.
All right, great. How about you, Louis? What do you got, baby?
Happy New Year, everyone. And I have a master's in education and ed leadership, working on a doctorate. So if y'all ever see me in Flint, you know I'm up there with some kind of shenanigans dealing with education.
All right now. Serena?
Peace and love, everybody. We have just put 2020 in our rearview mirror. It's a wrap, thank goodness. 2021 is going to be fan-freaking-tastic. I'm all about it. But like we were talking about, let's not cancel each other out. Let's try to have some peace. Let's try to have some love for one another and try to have some understanding.
I'll try. Chuck, what you got, baby?
Everybody, I want you to stay safe, wear your mask, and Paul, I want you to fix that spelling error under your face. Because that's just wrong.
That's the first thing I'm going to do for you, Chuck. I'm going to have Timmy and his cyber cop investigate the issue with this right here. I understand it's a problem.
Hey, Paul.
Yes, sir.
Can I add one thing to Candace?
Okay.
Bring Vic on next time you come back, but not Deep Blue.
That's wrong. We're going to call Deep Blue just for that. All right, guys. Listen, as always, we enjoy doing what we do, but we hope you do too. So if you want to get involved, public access, public radio, you want to do an internet show, holler at us. We're determined to make a difference, but we need you to do too. 810-239-2901. And remember, enjoy the life you live.
Just until you can live the life you'll enjoy.
I knew Timmy would get it. All right. Timmy, you're my hero. I can count on you every time. Every time.